opponent is equally armed as I am. So casualties are bound to be on both the sides, which one has to accept as a soldier.
Right.
But there are certain incidents which you always remember and recall. For example, in the Battle of Longueval in 1971 war. Only a few minutes ago, I was in one of the bunkers of a that time he was a sepoy. Along with him was a Naik, both Manning and light machine gun. His name was Sipahi Jagjit Singh. This man soldier had at that time 23 years of age and 5 years of service, and had got married only 2 months before the war. Where my command post was, he was the nearest light machine gun to me, my command post. Suddenly I find that there was no firing going on.
He must have been hit.
He must have been hit because there was the light machine gun was silenced and there was no firing from his bunker.
So did you check that he was actually hit and he was no more?
No, I had sent one of my Jawan to see whether the people are alive, what is wrong with them. Then he told, sir, the Jagjit Singh is out of the bunker, his body, he's lying with his LMG and he's no more. The other man who was with him was injured in the same bunker, and most probably this bunker was very badly hit by the Pakistani tank because it was continuously firing on them.
And so did you try and reach out to Jagjit Singh's wife after that?
What has happened, yes, we did reach after his death, unfortunate with many more people. We had sent, collected some money and sent the money to the parents and the wife, who was a very young lady at that time. And Jagjit Singh got the Veer Chakra posthumous. When the money was being given in front of the village panchayat, village near Adampur, there was a tussle between the wife and the parents of the deceased Sipahi Jagjit Singh. When this thing was reported to me, we said, okay, you don't give money to anybody, bring the money back. Very unfortunate and very sad thing happened that a few days after this incident, when everybody started abusing, as you know, our society, sometimes they do blame the girls for the death of the husband.
Yes, it happens in a lot of villages even now. Yes.
ਆਮ ਸਾਡੇ ਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਕੇ ਲਿਆਣੇ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਬੇਟੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਲੇਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਕਿ ਜੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਲੜਾਈ ਚ ਮਰਵਾਤਾ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਆਈ and all that. I think she felt very bad and it's very unfortunate that in the same village she jumped into the well and got killed.
She died?
She died. It's very unfortunate. The father we have been looking after the father because only mother and father were left behind. So, but it is a very tragic.
Very tragic. Master Randhir Singh, the Geneva Convention lays down the rules of war, how the POWs, the injured and the dead are to be treated. How often are these violated in your opinion?
Well, I would say in the front line, the first thing is to capture the enemy, extract information, anyhow and everyhow, that goes on. But when it comes in the main limelight, then the things become slightly different. In 71, I'll tell you one example. One Flight Lieutenant Jaffa, he was staff officer to the air chief. He had come to us, one of our squadron. He was shot down across Indo-Pak border beyond Amritsar, and his colleagues saw him bailing out. He was alive. So we were worried as to they will misbehave, they might kill him in the front. Now what I did, immediately rang up All India Radio Jalandhar and made them announce that so-and-so or pilot so-and-so has bailed out, he is seen landing comfortably, and he was taken prisoner. So he came back. So the spur of the moment we thought, and that saved his life. And
so these actions at the spur of the moment can save one's life.
Save one's life, and nothing happened to him. Well, I don't know, they must have questioned him, but when he came back later on, he said they didn't bother him.
Quite remarkable. Here let me read out excerpts from some books. First, from the book by Captain Amrinder Singh, Lest We Forget. In his chapter on Kashmir operations in 1947-48, he writes, I'll quote, "Of those killed was Jamadar Nand Singh, who had won a Victoria Cross in Burma. The Pakistanis recognized Nand Singh because of this VC ribbon that was on his body. Shamefully, they took him to Muzaffarabad, where his body was tied spread-eagled on a truck and paraded through the city with a loudspeaker proclaiming that this would be the fate of every Indian VC. This brave soldier's body was later thrown into a garbage dump," unquote. And this one is on the Kargil war from Wikipedia. I quote, "Lieutenant Saurabh Kalia of Forge Art and 5 of his men were captured alive. They were in their captivity for over 22 days and subjected to unprecedented brutal torture, as evident from their bodies handed over by Pakistan Army on June 9, 1999. The postmortem revealed that the Pakistan Army had indulged in the most heinous acts of burning their bodies with cigarettes, piercing eardrums with hot rods, puncturing eyes before moving them, breaking most of the teeth and bones, chopping off various limbs and private organs of these soldiers, besides inflicting all sorts of physical and mental tortures before shooting them dead, as evidenced by the bullet wound to the temple," unquote. And now I read this excerpt from page 125-126 of Harinder Beveja's A Soldier's Kargil Diary. Quote, "And the thirst for revenge. Indian Jawans went berserk. One of them took out his knife and slit the head of a Pakistani soldier in one stroke. The head was sent down to the brigade headquarters at Dras and pinned to a tree trunk. The enemy head, a grisly trophy, became an exhibition piece," unquote. Brigadier Sandhu, very sad tales. In your opinion, how often does this happen in battle?
Shameful indeed. And I think we should condemn such things, whether they were done by the Indian soldiers or by the Pakistani, or for that matter anyone. But these are some of the very rare instances in every army, if you read history, have happened, but condemnable nevertheless.
You don't recall any such incident in the Dera Baba Nanak sector or in the Khemkaran sector where you took part?
I don't, either in Khemkaran, Battle of Khemkaran during 65 or 71 at Dera Baba Nanak. But the Japanese, if you see during World War II, quite a few instances are there where they absolutely badly treated the prisoner of war. There are instances when the American armies in Baghdad or in Indochina, well, almost did things almost equal to that. But these things are rare, they are condemnable, and should, by the senior officers, should be stopped.
Brigadier Chandpuri, do you recall any such incident in your area of battle?
No, but certainly I would like to comment as to what happened with Jamadar Nand Singh, Victoria Cross. I must say it was a very, very sad incident, and perhaps the Pakistani soldiers have forgotten at that time that when Jamadar Nand Singh got the Victoria Cross, both Indian and Pakistani soldiers used to fight shoulder to shoulder with each other and against an enemy, and Jamadar Nand Singh was a part of them. Now to kill your own person in the heat of the moment and in such tragic circumstances, I must say it's a absolutely shameful act on the part.
Absolutely. Brigadier Chandpuri, truth is normally the first casualty when war histories are written. In your opinion, how accurate are accounts of battle that have been fought between India and Pakistan?
Really, if you ask me, our history is not updated. The military histories, recordings, perhaps there is some gap in between. The best written so far history is of the Britishers.
I remember there was some kind of a controversy even on the Battle of Longewala. One of your own colleagues had challenged the...
Yes, yes. There has been hardly a battle in India where there has been no controversy, even after the war. The unfortunate part is that we do not have much records available with us in written. Otherwise, during war, we do write the war diaries every day, and they are sent to the higher headquarters, and there is a section in the Ministry of Defence, Government of India, which compiles all these things. How accurate and how correct they are, it is only known to them, those who write them.
Are writing these. Brigadier Sandhu, in your opinion, how accurate are the war accounts?
Well,
I think
would
every
say
unit, every brigade headquarters, every division headquarters has its own version of every battle.
Well, as far as the accounts regarding the planning and the troops deployed, supporting arms available, by and large they are recorded correctly, because its effect, which was perhaps even given out in the war orders, things like it. But as far as the actions are concerned, I'm afraid every commander tries to build it up, maybe trying to give more decorations and
He would like to highlight his own
to their
account.
subordinates, so that he himself takes advantage out of it. But there is a tendency, there is no doubt about it, that as far as actions are concerned, the victorious armies will always do that. And that is why you notice, if you read whether 65 war or the 71 war, there are different versions by the Pakistanis who have written the books, and they are entirely different as far as the Indian army is concerned.
Air Marshal, what is your take on this? How accurate are the accounts of war, written by India and Pakistan, or the various authors in India and Pakistan?
It's a very tricky question, because as Brigadier Sahab has said, the victorious people, they always want to highlight more than necessary. At the same time, it is recorded by the individual, the way he feels at that spur of the moment. But I would like to say, when after the war, when we carry out an assessment, perhaps in-house the assessments are correct, but what is recorded and given out to the public
and for posterity, what is given out for posterity is not correct.
It is miles apart, and we seem to learn no lesson from the previous wars, because we are not projecting the truth.
But how come there is such a variance, Air Marshal, of the accounts written by authors in Pakistan and India of almost all these 2 or 3 wars that you had?
Two adversaries, they will always say that we have done better than the enemy. It's as simple as that. It's a human failing.
But will these kind of actions help? Like in this case, a Pak pilot has written to the daughter of an Indian pilot.
This is what I've been saying.
Will this help put things in perspective?
It will not. Has it helped? We have so many prisoner of wars in Pakistan jails. We don't even know their status. A lot of missions have gone across and come back. What have they done? This suddenly one spark has come up, trying to project that he is such a good man. I am not prepared to accept it.
Possibly, I think the accounts will match if the historical military sections on both sides were to sit down together and
do they?
To write. I don't think that level happens.
They will never do it. Has sort of British done it with Germans? They never do it. The two write-ups are entirely different. German history is different, and although we accept there are some ace pilots in German Air Force, but Little Heart has not said so.
So you basically have to read up on both sides and then form your own opinion. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us in the discussion. The remorse shown by a Pak pilot to the daughter of an Indian pilot whose civilian aircraft was shot down 46 years ago has helped clear at least a part of the fog over the 1965 war. This letter and response to it by the daughter of the deceased Indian pilot may set a new and welcome precedent. This could help write an accurate account of the previous wars and possibly help prevent collateral damage to the civilians during future conflicts. That's all in this episode. Do write your feedback. Thank you. Good luck and goodbye.